Parth jo Buddha Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujaga Sri Jiva Gopalaka Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Parau Premamritam Vanidhi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We want to thank everyone for taking time today to join us for the Bhagavad Gita as it is, reading and discussion with Yashodanandana Prabhu. And as you know, we are reading from the original 1972 version of the Bhagavad Gita, which is so filled with transcendental knowledge and for some real transcendental bliss, because knowledge is bliss. And when one is in ignorance, there is suffering. So these original books of Srila Prabhupada are filled with the knowledge of how to get out of the entanglement of the material world. It's a mystery for all of us to understand and unlock this ability to liberate ourselves out of the repetition of birth and death. And this is all by the grace of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the bona fide spiritual master. And it's very important that we receive knowledge from a bona fide source, because this is the gateway to spiritual understanding. If the source is illegitimate, it's like our God brother mentions from Hawaii, Janaspriya, when you add some kind of contamination into milk, it's not usable. So in the same way, when people, third-class people, misinterpret the philosophy for personal motive or personal ambition, it becomes contaminated. And that transparent information via the spiritual master is lost. It's not a small thing. It's actually the most important philosophical principle that all of the bona fide disciples of Srila Prabhupada have to follow and explain to others. So nowadays, there are so many opinions on spiritual life that are being propagated online. Oh yeah. And everyone is got an opinion, just like everyone has a body odor. So everyone can have an opinion, but we are not basing our philosophy of Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association on opinion. No. And when people get in touch with us and congratulate us for our efforts, it's because we're giving the philosophy based on Prabhupada's teachings, which are very detailed and elaborate. In fact, it's extraordinary when you study the encyclopedia of spiritual knowledge that Prabhupada created in such a few years. You understand his transcendental position as the bona fide Acharya from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami. And we want to, part of our plan for the future is to create a center, a memorial center. This is our hope, a Prabhupada Memorial Center, just like in Washington, D.C. in America, they have this Lincoln Center, which is in glorification of one of the founders of their democracy. So even more important is Prabhupada's position as the representative of Lord Chaitanya, who took a boat across the ocean with no money, no friends, no support, and living in a very different world, the world of the American society of total Maya. He took up the mission of his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Prabhupada, and successfully preached this mission around the world. It's not a small thing. It's an amazing accomplishment. And we want to make sure that Prabhupada's position, we've been talking about this, is not minimized by anyone or anything. And at this particular point in time, humbly we see that Prabhupada's position has been minimized. How? Well, first of all, third-class people are trying to change the books of His Divine Grace, many thousands of changes in His books, which is a sin against the message of the pure devotee to the conditioned souls. This is not good. Recently, I saw a lawsuit that's been filed in India by the BBT, still studying it, but they're mentioning that there's so many versions of the Gita. Oh, there's all these versions of the Bhagavad Gita by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. No, there's only one version. But it's been changed by many, many different people. And because of that, the philosophy has been spoiled by their deviant behavior. Not a good thing. Now, someone we could say, and we do bring this up all the time, well, why do we do it? Because the people that come to these programs are interested in understanding what is the truth of the matter. It's a very significant thing. It's not a small thing. It cannot be minimized on any levels. You know, a lot of times we go to these programs of other people, God brothers mostly, and we hear them speak, and it's obvious that they're off in their own mental state of speculation. Oh, I did this, I was that. You know, when Tamal Krishna was preaching to me at the Radha Damodar programs, and Vishnu John was taking me on a journey into transcendence, and the person is preaching like that. Okay, do you know the history of Tamal Krishna? Are you aware of the things that he did? No, but you're quoting him. Why not quote Srila Prabhupada? Why not present Prabhupada in his unadulterated form, in his books, in his classes, and glorify him? That is the goal of this mission that we have, to put Prabhupada, as we said recently, at the head of the class, not at the back of the class, Krishna Katha. Don't minimize the spiritual master in who he is. The reason people do that is because they have no understanding of Guru Tattva. They're very confused. And this is largely due to personal ambition. Of course, everybody wants to be successful in this world. What does success mean? Fame, glorification, money accumulation. That's another business. Prabhupada said, do not make a business or trade business with Krishna. That's what's happened, that these people want to make a trade business with Krishna. I just saw Yashodanandana Prabhu just before the class, a picture of one of these prominent sannyasis. I'm reluctant to say his name because people will think, oh, well, but it wasn't myself. It was a picture that I was seeing of Radhanath Swami. And he's at all these Mayavadi centers, presenting himself as some kind of spiritual leader of the Sankirtan mission of Lord Chaitanya. No. Prabhupada is the preeminent acharya, the representative of Bhakti Siddhanta and Krishna Katha. It is our duty as humble servants of the spiritual master simply to serve him and place him in a position of prominence for anybody that's interested in becoming Krishna conscious and making advancement. And you can do that. And we want to thank everyone that's coming to the programs that are registered on our Hare Krishna YouTube channel. We have almost 300 classes there. That's quite an achievement in a small way. And you'll be able to hear how we present the philosophy of Srila Prabhupada as the preeminent guru, ongoing, steady, all the time, because it's the most important thing. And then you can take the program and then you apply yourself to the process of chanting your rounds, 16 rounds every day, of listening to Prabhupada's lectures on a daily basis, and studying his books very seriously. Study the books, and a world of information will be revealed to you because of the bona fide connection that you have with your spiritual master. And this is the most important thing, is to deliver yourself. The first person to save is yourself. How can you save other people if you can't save yourself? You can't. So personal development of one's spiritual life through devotional service, the practice of Krishna consciousness, is a real success story for the individual devotees that are participating in these programs. And it'll be self-evident in your life. I know we're getting a lot of people that are sending us messages, to all of us actually. Yashodanandana Prabhu and Krishna Katha, different people are sharing this information with us, that these people are very much appreciative that there's some hope in this world of confusion, mental speculation, illusion. Yes, there is some hope. There is a source of information available, a proper information in the community of the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association. And it's a great honor for us to all be a part of this mission. And we want to move forward and continue to create programs and different facilities for people to get this position, this understanding that Prabhupada is our Diksha and Siksha Guru. Yes. And he lives in sound. And it's alive, it's dynamic, it's full of energy, transcendental bliss, Satchidananda. And by connecting with this source, you become spiritually empowered. And in this way, you can share this with the people in your areas where you are residing all over the globe. And in this way, this will be successful. And we want everyone to remember we have a Vyas Puja program that we've launched last year, a book of glorification. If you can please prepare your offerings for the within the next week or two, and submit them into the Hare Krishna Society website. Our website is very prolific, thanks to Yashodanandana Prabhu, largely in part, and Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu for working on this. And our newsletters, which are very informative. I was mentioning earlier, we've created this newsletter, and the recent one on Rath Yatra is a definitive explanation of Rath Yatra in an authentic way under Prabhupada's enlightenment. So this magazine should be printed and distributed to all the Rath Yatra programs throughout the world that seem very popular these days. People are going out for these festivals. They get free prasadam. They get to showcase themselves. It reminds me a bit of the Christian church, where you get up and you go to church on Sunday, you get all dressed up, and you go to the church and everybody sees you and you're recognized. And then you go home and you get back into your Maya life. So this magazine's also extremely informative and very, very potent. So these are different services, and then we do want to create this Prabhupada Memorial Center. So these are things that are on the list of things to do. And if you have anyone that's capable of doing video production, we're interested in first getting more co-hosts. We do need them for our classes moving forward. For our membership, people like these classes. We're getting lots of appreciation, but we do need help. So if you're somewhat inclined in technology, please get in touch with us so that we can share the information, how you can be part of our team of producers. This is very important. And now I'm going to go ahead and read from the diaries of Srila Prabhupada, which have been appreciated by many of you because you weren't aware of them. First of all, you don't have copies of them. And we have them by the grace of our godbrothers. They were printed in the 90s, and we're able to go to them. And we're going to go to July 30th, 1965. Now, this diary was given to Srila Prabhupada from the Scindia Steamship Company when he was organizing himself for his trip. So he started using the diary, and it's become a very valuable document to give us all personal insight into Prabhupada's organized plan for coming to the West. So he says on Friday, July 30th, 1965, Mr. J.M. Choksky today handed over to me the following, that's Friday the 13th. Just jumped ahead there. I'll just read anyway. Okay, there we are. Thank you. Lots of information. The passport, he has a passport, and then he has a P form passed on the 27th of July, 65. Original letter and no objection certificate from Gopal P. Agarwal, who's working on arranging his entry into America. And he's going to go to Butler, Pennsylvania to stay at the home of his son, the Agarwals. Copies of letters for Calcutta office, India Steam Navigation Company, and 5 international certificate in vaccination, 3 years, 6 months duration. On Sunday, the 1st of August, to start for Calcutta by the Calcutta Mail via Nagpur, starting from Bori Benar at 19 hours in the evening. And he has a ticket number there. Luggage is booked and the receipt paid. Rupees 1220. Paid by rupees, and that, I guess that's, I don't know, 1220. Here we go. Now here is, on the right there, we'll show that after, the letter from Gopal Agarwal mentioned in the July 30th diary entry. Srila Prabhupada was pleasantly surprised when the Ministry of External Affairs showed him this statutory declaration form and informed him that his no objection certificate had been issued. Srila Prabhupada had met Gopal's father only briefly 3 or 4 months previously, and not had expected anything to come of Mr. Agarwal's offer to have his son, Gopal, act as a sponsor. See also the Reflections chapter beginning on page 81. We'll read that later. But you can see here, Prabhus, that Krishna is pushing the boat. Krishna is moving all of these things. We're still going to go forward here. Rupesh, please. And go back to the diaries, Rupesh. Thank you. Now go to the next page where I'm showing the document, Consulate General. So here it is. It's a detailed document, a statutory declaration form. And there's Gopal Agarwal Prasad, and he's the sponsor's address. That's the sponsor's address, and he's on Main Street in Butler, Pennsylvania. He's an engineer. He has $1,200 in the bank, his sponsor, his passport number. So it's a regular detailed information for the government. And there it is, Tridandi Goswami A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami in Delhi. So he's undertaking the cost of passage of the above mentioned person in column 6. So following all the rules and regulations, and there's the signature and seal of the notary public, like that. So like this, Prabhupada's getting all his documents. You can imagine how excited he was moving forward here. You can see all the things, all the details. He's making a grand journey to America. He got these arrangements by the grace of Krishna. He's leaving Radha Damodar temple in India. It is very humble accommodations, and undertaking this grand journey across the ocean. There's a lot's going to happen on this boat ride. On Tuesday, the 3rd of August, yeah, there we are, he reached at 65A Panchuriya Gata Street, Rukmar Bangar, Dharmashal at about 1 p.m. Sri Govinda Dal Bangar sent his man to receive me, received letter from Chaitanya Bharati from New Delhi, and also from Govinda Maharaj on the 7th month, 31st day, 65. And August 5th, Sri Kanar Banerjee coming today to see me at any time. So not a large things to do list, but he's preparing to leave. Things are unfolding. And on Friday, the 6th of August, in the morning to start for Mayapur and return back in the evening. Oh, we've done that, Yashoda. Leave from Calcutta, go up to Mayapur. I think it's only about 75 kilometers. It takes hours to go there. It used to back then, the way the roads were quite memorable. I remember meeting you and Guru Kripa Prabhu on a bus. Back then, we were riding on a bus, and you guys were heading up the bus. We were just the passengers from the Toronto Temple. I still remember it. I still remember Guru Kripa Swami. He was such a vibrant person. Oh, my God. The Sindhi Steam Navigation Company Limited. Go to that. Yep. Sumatra Morarji was reluctant to give Srila Prabhupada passage to America. She thought him too old, and she doubted he would be able to accomplish much there. No, Prabhupada's no Joe Biden, that's for sure. Srila Prabhupada, however, was persistent, and she finally agreed to issue him one complimentary ticket with food for passage aboard the Jaladuta. And let's look at the ticket. Did I shoot that ticket for you? Yeah. Cabin class, non-transferable. Just go back up there, Prabhu. And there's his name, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada, our Prabhupada. And there's a non-transferable passage ticket, dated in Calcutta. On the 8th month, on the 4th day, 1965, and Prabhupada's getting ready to embark on the 13th of August on his trip, his glorious trip to America to spread the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we're all members. What a great thing. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava and then the readings and discussions with Yashodanandana Prabhu from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 1972. Haribol.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girimara Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप धाम की जय स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Naranarayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as we do every week. we will recite a few Sanskrit verses with translations which were originally introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself in 1966 in New York. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunatan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantarada Kantanamostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distress and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are reading from the original, non-interpolated, non-edited, original 1972 Macmillan edition, all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. I'd like to point out our good friend Krishna Katha as a beautiful view of all the different verses of all the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 1962 version. Very, very important. If somebody can display the text for today's reading. Anybody has the text for today's reading? I don't see it here.
It's there, Prabhu.
I just can't seem to display it on my screen. Okay, let me just get the book. Chapter 11, text number
25, Prabhu.
25 or 35? 25?
25.
Very, very good. Okay. Damsrakaralani chante mukhani drishtva kalanala sannibhani disho na jane nalabe cha sharma prasida deve cha jagan nivasa damstra tit karalani, like that. Cha, also. Te, your. Mukhani, faces. Drishtva, seeing. Eva, thus. Kalanala, the fire of death. Sannibhani, as if blazing. Dishaha, directions. Najane, do not know. Nalabhe, nor obtain. Cha, sharma, and grace. Prasida, be pleased. Devesha, O Lord of all lords. Jagannivasa, refuge of the worlds. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Lord of lords, O refugee of the world, refuge of the world, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing, death-like faces and awful teeth in all directions. I am bewildered. Text 26-27. Amichatvam dhritarashtrasya putra sarve saheva vanipala sangai bhishmo dronaha sutaputrastatasu sahasmadiyera piyoda mukyai bhaktrani titvaramana vishanti damshtra karalani bhayanakani kechid vilagna dashanantareshu sandrishante churnite ruttamangai. Ami, all those. Cha, also. Tvam, you. Dhritarashtrasya, of Dhritarashtra. Putraha, sons. Sarva, all. Saha eva, along with. Avanipala, warrior kings. Sangai, with the groups. Bhishmaha, Bhishmadeva. Dronaha, Dronacharya. Sutaputraha, Karna. Tata, also. Asau, that. Saha, with. Asmadiyai, are. Api, also. Yodamukyai, chief among the warriors. Bhaktrani, mouths. Te, your. Tvaramana, fearful. Vishanti, entering. Damstra, teeth. Karalani, terrible. Bhayanakani, very fearful. Kechit, some of them. Vilagnaha, being attacked. Dashanantareshu, between the teeth. Sandrishyante, being seen. Churnitei, smash. Uttama angai, by the head. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings and Bhishma, Drona, and Karma, and all our soldiers are rushing into your mouths, their heads smashed by your fearful teeth. I see that some of them are being crushed between your teeth as well. Purport by His Divine Grace. In a previous verse, the Lord promised to show Arjuna things he would be very interested in seeing. Now Arjuna sees that the leaders of the opposite party, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and all the sons of Dhritarashtra and their soldiers and Arjuna's own soldiers are all being annihilated. This is an indication that Arjuna will emerge victorious in battle, despite heavy losses on both sides. It is also mentioned here that Bhishma, who is supposed to be unconquerable, will also be smashed. So also Karna. Not only will the great warriors of the other party like Bhishma be smashed, but some of the great warriors of Arjuna's side also. Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Sugurave Namaham Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhojadulisyam Janma Janmani Amshu Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Shat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Here we see a very important point which is being raised by Srila Prabhupada in the purport to this text number 26 and 27. Srila Prabhupada says, this is an indication that Arjuna will emerge victorious in battle despite heavy losses on both sides. So this is a very important point. We see in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, our Lord Krishna described Yatra Yogeshvaro Krishna. He described that whenever there is Krishna and whenever there is Arjuna, there is victory. There is guaranteed victory, because this is the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes mundaners misunderstand how the Bhagavad Gita is spoken in a battlefield, where Arjuna is telling, where Krishna, Lord Krishna, is telling Arjuna to fight. And mundane politicians trying to preach nonviolence from the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada one time scoffed, he laughed at the idea. No, there is no such thing as nonviolence in the Bhagavad Gita. Violence was required because of the obstinacy of Duryodhana and the Kurus. who had deprived the Pandavas of their rightful kingdom. And every attempt was made. This description of the universal form is very important, because in the Mahabharata, we see that Krishna, before the war of Kurukshetra, went to visit Duryodhana, and he exhibited his universal form, attempted to convince Duryodhana to avoid the war, telling them, just give him 5 villages to the 5 Pandavas. No, but he was so obstinate. So sometimes it is necessary, but nowadays in Kali Yuga, these current wars are not fought on religious principles. They're fought for whimsical behavior, for personal aggrandizement. Yesterday, a devotee sent me a very nice passage from a lecture by Srila Prabhupada, where he was described that those persons that accumulate military strength for personal aggrandizement, that is demoniac. We see in the Bhagavad Gita later on, there is a chapter, the divine and demoniac natures. And this tendency to create weapons to destroy the world, this is demoniac, this is asuric, non-devotional. That is why all the great acharyas recommend that one has to study the Bhagavad Gita from a self-realized acharya, from a realized pure devotee. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. In the Chandogya Upanishad, there is description that one should study the Shastra from the realized acharya. And if one studies submissively the Shastra, under the guidance of the acharya, one will gradually know everything. This is not a artavad or an exaggeration. This is a fact. We see also in the Bhagavad Gita in the 13th chapter, Krishna describes to Arjuna the qualities in the mode of goodness. And one of the qualities, acharya upasanam saucham, one should accept and worship the bona fide acharya. Of course, in Kali Yuga, many persons under the influence of the mode of passion and ignorance become acharya for personal gain. We have no such thing as an acharya for personal gain. One cannot enter into the acharya business unless he's devoid of the desire for personal gain. To become acharya means to benefit the living entities by giving them the message, the transcendental message of the Vedas. This is the whole idea. And unless one is perfectly situated in a mode of goodness, called Brahmanishtam, Tad Vinyartam Gurume Vigachet, Shamit Patipanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. In the Kathopanishad, it is described that the bona fide acharya, the bona fide realized acharya, is perfectly situated in Brahman. He knows what is Brahman, he explains it, and he lives his life according to the Shastra, the scriptures. Why is this so important? Because in the age of Kali, the tendency is to cheat. Everybody is looking for shortcomings. There's no shortcomings in spiritual life. There's no magic silver bullet to bypass the proper process. Yesterday, I was reading a conversation that took place in Hawaii between Srila Prabhupada and one of his senior followers, where he was trying to explain that some devotees are not serious. They're not cutting their hair. They're not cutting their mustaches, but they chant and they want to be initiated. So Prabhupada explained that this process, this is given by the acharyas. There is no shortcut in the process. If one cannot follow the process or is not ready to follow the process, one can still chant, one can still take prasadam, one can still read the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, but one cannot change the process. Those who are not fixed up in the proper process, the process cannot be changed for them. Prabhupada was very strong on this point. It is not discrimination against anyone. It actually is the mercy of the Acharya that he has made the process so easy to follow. It is not difficult to follow. What is difficult to follow is people are not willing to give up their false ego. Just like Vishwakarma Prabhu was mentioning, that everybody has got an opinion. There is one conversation where Prabhupada repeats this exact same point, that every person has got an opinion, but not everybody has got the knowledge. Anybody can think, oh, I know Prabhupada, I was with Prabhupada, I was there for such and such conversation, I received so many letters from Prabhupada, I went on so many morning walks with Prabhupada. That is very nice. That is your good fortune. You are very privileged. But one should not mistakenly think that this makes one automatically better than everybody else. If one has received some special mercy from the spiritual master, that is good. One should respect that. At the same time, if one becomes falsely proud and starts to twist the philosophy, just like as part of these discussions, we've analyzed different reports by different managers that were issued in 1980 in response to certain individuals who experienced problems in their spiritual life. Rather than admit that these problems were the result of deviating from the order of the spiritual master, they started to find fault with the Mahajanas, with the great acharyas, claiming that Lord Shiva ran after Mohini, or Lord Brahma ran after his daughter, or Arjuna forgot Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, or Dhruva Maharaj became angry at the Yakshas. Which books did they read? Which knowledge did they get this nonsense from? First of all, the whole idea of comparing themselves to these great liberated souls is foolishness in the first place. There was one letter that Prabhupada wrote to Himavati Devi Dasi, who was asking a question about the behavior of great personalities like Brahma and Lord Shiva. And Prabhupada's explanation was we should be very, very careful when we hear those examples in the Shastra of some so-called discrepancy from such personalities. Not that one finds faults with such personalities in an attempt to rationalize their behavior. That is simply nonsense. Some of you may be familiar with a conversation in the Prabhupada conversation books where Srila Prabhupada is answering a question from a devotee on a morning walk, and the devotee is asking Prabhupada whether the Acharya has to be a pure devotee. Prabhupada, who is speaking this? Prabhupada said, who is speaking that nonsense? Prabhupada said, who is that rascal that the Acharya doesn't have to be a pure devotee? And this is what happened when people don't hear the books submissively from the Acharya, but speculate on the basis that, oh, I'm a very senior devotee. I really know the answer. Well, that may be, Mr. Senior Devotee, but don't think you know everything. Prabhupada has already given all the answers. Stop your speculation. Stop your nonsense. Stop all of your nonsense ideas and just hear submissively from the Acharya. Then you will understand. Instead of finding fault with the Acharyas, just hear submissively from the Acharyas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you, Yashodanandana Prabhu, for that wonderful explanation of this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Coming from the bona fide spiritual master, not only in the verses that he translated, Nilesh Sharma, but also in his purports, which further educate us on the science of self-realization. Just like the Bhagavad Gita is a process explained by Krishna himself to Arjuna to reveal to Arjuna his transcendental position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are in the 11th chapter now of the Universal Form, and it's revealing all of these different aspects of the Lord to Arjuna. So this process of revelation is possible by the association of the bona fide spiritual master, as Yashodanandana was so nicely articulating to us, and not by any fraudulent person representing this line of knowledge without due qualification. So Prabhupada is present in sound vibration. Now, this may be a difficult concept for the mundane person to understand, but a devotee sees Nilesh by his ears, not by his eyes. Most people think, oh, I see, and they're looking. But the eyes are an imperfect, very imperfect vehicle for perception, especially as we get older. As you know, we're all wearing glasses, or we got cataracts, and we have to get operations, and this and that we can still continue. I was just thinking about that on my walk this morning, chanting japa. I was thanking my surgeon, and I thank Krishna. Thank you for restoring my vision with the cataract operation so I can continue to read Prabhupada's books. Because Prabhupada is present in sound. And this is called the Vani incarnation. And through his mercy, we can see Krishna. It is not possible any other way. And I wanted to read, as you mentioned, Yashoda, that Prabhupada is present in his original books, unedited books. I want to read from chapter 2, verse 72, a very deep purport, explaining our position here in this world, all of us, Nilesh in Florida and Vijay Pandit and his group in Italy, the situation that we're in and how we can get out of it through understanding this information that Prabhupada is giving us in the Gita. So this is the end of the second chapter of the contents of the Gita summarized. Very, very enlightening chapter, by the way. And it contains all the information Prabhupada says in the Gita for us. It's summarized in this particular chapter to enlighten us. So if we can go to text 72, Nilesh, thank you. Or Rupesh, excuse me. Esha Brahmani Stiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimukhayati Stiti Vasham Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Richate. So we'll go down to the translation. This is the way of spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered, being so situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Everything revealed then. So here is the further explanation of how to understand Krishna's words by Krishna's bona fide representative, who is none different than Krishna, via transparent media of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's wonderful how Prabhupada explains this. And think about the context, Nilesh, where Prabhupada was when he was translating the Gita and the purports, giving the purports back in the 60s for all of his new disciples. One can attain Krishna consciousness or divine life at once within a second, or one may not attain such a state of life even after millions of births. Here's the key. It is only a matter of understanding, Nilesh, and accepting the fact. Kadvanga Maharaj attained this state of life just a few minutes before his death by surrendering unto Krishna. Nirvana means ending the process of materialistic life. According to the Buddhist philosophy, there's only void after the completion of this material life, but Bhagavad Gita teaches us differently. Actual life begins after the completion of this material life. Even the gross materialist, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic way of life. But for persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life, which is very short. We think it's long because we're in the illusion that we will not die. Before ending this life, if one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana. There's no difference between the kingdom of God and the devotional service of the Lord. Both actions go on, whether you're living in this body or you leave this body, you're still a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since both of them are on the absolute plane, it is to be engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is to have attained the spiritual kingdom. Eh, Krishna Gita? That's the freedom from all misery, is to be the servant of Krishna. In the material world, there are activities of sense gratification, whereas in the spiritual world, there are activities of Krishna consciousness. Attainment of Krishna consciousness, even during this life, is immediate attainment of Brahman, and one who is situated in Krishna consciousness has certainly already entered into the kingdom of God. Already engaging in the Sankirtan process of spreading the mission of Lord Chaitanya as a bona fide acharya gives you the ticket, Nilesh, back home, back to Godhead, while even you're present in this material body. So amazing, this purport. Brahman is just the opposite of matter. Therefore, Brahmani Sthiti means not on the platform of material activities. Devotional service of the Lord is accepted in the Bhagavad Gita as the liberated stage. Therefore, Brahma Sthiti is liberation from material bondage. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has summarized the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as being the contents of the whole text. In the Bhagavad Gita, the subject matters are Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. In the second chapter, karma and jnana yoga have been clearly discussed, and a glimpse of bhakti yoga has also been given as the contents for the complete text. So we, of course, encourage each one of us to continually study the Bhagavad Gita, the scriptures that Srila Prabhupada, because they will give us the answers to the mystery of human life, why we are here in this material world, Nilesh, and what is our responsibility while we're here with this valuable possession of time. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could further elaborate, and we'll move to our panel after.
Well, these are very important points, very, very important points, because without properly understanding what is authorized, what is unauthorized, what is bona fide, what is not bona fide, it's very easy for somebody to be bewildered. Just yesterday on Facebook, there was some discussion from some group in India who claimed that their leader was an incarnation of Narayana. They're very popular in Gujarat. And the problem with these kind of claims is that it's not supported by Shastra. In other words, how to understand what is authorized and unauthorized, one has to hear from the authorized acharya. Otherwise, one will be misled. One will be misled. So that's why one has to take shelter of these books right behind Krishna Katha Prabhu, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, of a realized soul. Because in Kali Yuga, there are so many people that are claiming to be gurus, acharyas, pandits, and unfortunately, they mislead people. And we've seen this. We've seen this even in our movement. The very society that Prabhupada started has shown this. So one has to use his intelligence so that one will not be cheated, one would not be misled, and one will not be bewildered. Pretty simple. I think our friend Shyama Prabhu has raised his hand again.
We'll get to him. It's true. You're absolutely right, Yashoda. And Prabhupada used to say that commonly, Nilesh, to us all, that it is simple for the simple and difficult for the crooked. Actually, this process, this opportunity for becoming Krishna consciousness is free to everyone. There is no charge. The only charge is your sincerity of purpose, and your only responsibility is to give up the conception that we can be Krishna in this body, the enjoyer of everything. We're actually have to be re-educated in our position as servant of the Supreme Lord. It's a simple concept, especially when you see how wonderful this creation is, how so extravagant, so complex it is. And then we think we're important. Oh, we're such big people. Well, we're not, unfortunately. We're simply little specks in the universe. And if we can rise up by the mercy of the pure devotee to a transcendental state of understanding, then Krishna Katha, we can find true transcendental happiness. That is possible, but it is only by the effort of the individuals that are taking up this process and collectively working together, Nilesh, to advance the mission of Srila Prabhupada as a demonstration of our love for him. This is not a narcissistic, individualistic process. A lot of people are narcissistic. That's just the way it is. Whether it's politicians or musicians or actors or businessmen, they become very narcissistic because they have all this fame, all this money, all this independence to act until they're taken down by the laws of material nature and they die. because that's what happens. And then everything is dispersed. Let's move to Dharma Bhavana quickly, and then to Nilesh Sharma in Miami. Dharma Bhavana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Wonderful class as usual. Just last week, I was asking one young devotee that's part of Prabhupada's mission, why should this devotee accept Prabhupada as a bona fide spiritual master? What is so special about him? And the reply was that he has written all the books. And I said, okay, that's good. But there's a lot of other details, for example, that are presented here in Prabhupada's Hidden Glories. And the part here explains the bona fide spiritual master is never limited by material conditions. I thought I'd read this if that's okay.
Where are you reading from? Hopefully, Rupesh.
I'm sorry. It's Srila Prabhupada's Hidden Glories, book number 2, page 763.
Prabhupada's Hidden Glories. Repeat that, please.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada's Hidden Glories, Inevitable Restoration of His Divine Mission, book number 2. It kind of summarizes a lot.
What page?
What is a bona fide spiritual master and how it works? Page 763.
Okay, we'll see if Rupesh can get it. Go ahead, though. Start reading.
Okay, this is section F. The bona fide spiritual master is never limited by material conditions. Wherever Lord Krishna's devotees worship him, Krishna is present. In the same way, wherever sincere followers worship Krishna's great devotees, these Vaishnavas are present. Krishna's great devotees live forever in their instructions, Vani, in their form, Vapu, and in the hearts of their sincere followers. Srila Prabhupada remains present in innumerable places simultaneously and accepts the worship of innumerable followers now and at all times, wherever his instructions are sincerely followed. Number 1, just like Krishna can be present simultaneously in millions of places, similarly, the spiritual master also can be present wherever the disciple wants. A spiritual master is the principle, not the body. Just like a television can be seen in thousands of places by the principle of relay monitoring. A Srila Prabhupada letter, May 28, 1968. Disciple, in some of our temples, such as Vrindavan, the Murti statue of your divine grace has been installed, and they, your disciples, are offering prasadam, foodstuffs. So is it the same? Lord Krishna accepts offerings through his statue or picture, that the prasadam is accepted by the Guru? And Srila Prabhupada answers, yes. Shakshadari Tvainasamasya Shastrir. The Guru is non-different than Krishna. That is accepted by all the Shastras. Kintu Praborya Priyeva Tasya. But the Guru's position is the most confidential servant. So the Guru is a servant God, and Krishna is the master God. Both of them are God. Serving God and master God. So a reporter asked also, that was from a Prabhupada conversation, October 27th, 1975. Number 3, reporter, what will happen to the movement in the United States when you die? So Prabhupada answers, I will never die. I shall live from my books and you will utilize. Srila Prabhupada interview, July 16th, 1975. And it goes on to explain a lot more examples, but I just thought I'd read a few of them. I thought it was a lot said, kind of about who is Prabhupada and why we accept him as a special personality. Thank you, Haribol.
Yeah, that's a wonderful quote. Thank you very much. When the reporter asked him, what happens when you will die? I will never die. I will live in my books and you will utilize. So this is fundamentally the essence of this philosophy of Guru Tattva, that Prabhupada lives in his Vani incarnation, and all of us are celebrating that by our regular focus on the process of devotional service given by him to us. Nilesh Sharma in Fort Lauderdale, Miami. Prabhu,
Hare
please.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol.
What an interesting points which have been raised throughout this class. Let me start off with your initial points where you were talking about certain gurus and certain swamis from ISKCON. I would like to ask Yashodanandan Prabhu,
Yes.
is it appropriate to call them swamis? Is it appropriate to call them what you call whatever designations has been given? Because swami means master, and are there any type of masters? So yes, we should address them by their initiated names, but I wonder whether we need to add swamis to them. You know, they may be swamis to somebody else, but I think they are masters of illusion, because they're all after the three things: adoration, distinction, and profit. You see, and of course they do this through kutinati, which is what you call compromises and political what you call bargaining. You see. So I think we need to be very careful about how we address such personalities, at least in this class. And stress has to be given that the only, the only Diksha and Shiksha Guru is Srila Prabhupada. This is what we all firmly believe in. He's not the Shiksha and Diksha Guru, but he's the only Shiksha and Diksha Guru. We gain all that information from him, and we are where we are because of him. The second point which I wanted to ask is, wanted to make is the talk about how can we, has the Guru Maharaj have to be from the Uttam Adhikari platform? What Dharma Bhavana Prabhu just read clarifies it. If I am a Madhyam Adhikari person and I say that I'm going to be a Guru, how can I accept the bhoga which is laid out to the pictures and the deity forms of the Guru? Because remember, if you are a fully liberated person, then remember what Prabhupada says is that the Krishna takes over the actions of the Guru Maharaj himself. You see, because he is completely liberated. So if your Guru is not on the highest Uttam Adhikari platform, can he do any of these things which is claimed by Srila Prabhupada, where he can be simultaneously present, not only in my house, in Yashodanandan Prabhu's house, in Vishwakarma Prabhu's house, but in every one of our houses, accepting the bhoga, accepting your archana, and noting it in your devotional service. Remember, let us not forget that even mere attendance in this particular class is devotional service. Remember that. If you were to give a receptive receptive ears to this particular class, if you're sincere and you're attentive, you are doing devotional service. This is transcendental service. And it is very interesting what you read, Vishwakarma Prabhu, where Prabhupada writes is that there is no difference between the kingdom of God and devotional service. So, just like what Bhagavad Gita shloka was read by Yashodanandan Prabhu, where Arjuna was shown that he will have great losses even on his side. What does that tell us? That if we were to walk on this path, sincerely following Srila Prabhupada's instructions, keeping him in the center, so that Krishna is in the center. Remember, this is only because Prabhupada is the 100% liberated Uttam Adhikari person. So Krishna has taken over his life. So whatever we do to him, we are doing it to Krishna. Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastre. This is what it means. So when we are doing this to Srila Prabhupada, we are putting him in the center. We are doing devotional service to Krishna himself. Shravanam. This is the first part which we can do it. And why is Srila Prabhupada the real bona fide person? Because if you were to give a receptive oral reception, proper oral reception, as Prabhupada says, the instructions will go straight to your heart, and that will motivate you to change your lives. Look around us. How many of us have changed their lives? 100%. So almost 180 degrees. We were all, at least I was, meat eater and illicit sex and gambling and all these things. How come we gave it up? It's only because of Prabhupada's instructions. So Uttam Adhikari is very important. The last thing which I would like to say is I was in association with some of the Narayan Maharaj's disciples. And after Narayan Maharaj had disappeared, I asked this question to them, that now that Narayan Maharaj is gone, he has not nominated anybody. What is going to be the Sangha's view on continuing with their initiations? The senior most devotee, who is now with ISKCON, I don't want to name him for obvious reasons. People know who I'm talking about. He kept quiet. But there was somebody else, he says, well, there are Madhyam Adhikaris who will be initiating on his behalf. So I wondered that whether we need to subscribe to this doctrine also. So let's keep all this in mind. And I would like to know if Yashodanand Prabhu, that we need to address these personalities from ISKCON as Swamis, and of course, they're not Goswamis, and give them these particular titles. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
that's
call
quite-
upon. Go ahead, Yashoda, please. Go ahead.
It's quite a few different topics. I'm very hesitant to point out the finger at anybody, whether or not they're Swamis or Goswamis or not. But I guess when we read Prabhupada's books and we see the precision in which he analyzes various examples given in the Shastras, like our good friend Bhakti Rupesh Prabhu has put on the chat a letter from Prabhupada to Himavati, where Srila Prabhupada is explaining the so-called or the alleged incident of Lord Brahma and his attraction for his daughter. Prabhupada explains it nicely. But when we see the explanation that these managers gave in August of 1980, trying to explain how some of these so-called Uttamadhikaris or so-called Swamis strayed away from their behavior of being a pure devotee, there is a vast gulf of difference. In other words, they did not carefully read. They did not carefully study. They did not scrutinizingly analyze Prabhupada's statements. They just went with their usual, oh, we're the managers, we're in charge, we really know, and here it is. No, that's not the way to look at it. We have to look at it from the perspective of Srila Prabhupada. That is the business of every one of Prabhupada's disciples, every woman, child, and devotee. That is the real business. Unfortunately, people rush to conclusion and come to the wrong conclusion. That is why it is very important to take shelter of Prabhupada's instructions before we open our mouths, not after. Not that somebody makes a nonsense political statements and then try to walk it back on the basis of having a big position. That no longer works. So we have to be very careful. With regards to many of the other issues you're raising, yes, you are correct. And one important point, which often comes up in these discussions, and this is the point that I see right in front of my eyes behind Krishna Katha Prabhu, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why did Srila Prabhupada bring the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam? To benefit people, not to exploit them, not to cheat them, not to give him some nonsense idea, to give him the pure original Amrit, the nectar of the message of Godhead. That is why. I'm going to conclude here. In 1970, as a brahmachari, I was in Los Angeles when Srila Prabhupada formed the GBC. And I had the opportunity to speak to one of Prabhupada's personal servants, and I asked him the question, why did Prabhupada form this GBC? We all know what the temple president, the Samkirtan leaders, and the sannyasi, but what is the idea behind this GBC? And he said Prabhupada's idea is that their function is to manage the affairs of ISKCON so that in the future, even after Prabhupada's departure, they're supposed to keep the purity and the integrity and the sanctity of Prabhupada's teachings so that these teachings are not changed or adulterated in any way. That was the first duty of the GBC, not some political nonsense or whatever they do. So this is a very important point, very important point. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Yashodanandana Prabhu, and also Nilesh Sharma for his comments, because it's true. This association with devotees and the repetition of Prabhupada's books and his pastimes with us is devotional service. Prabhupada mentioned in a letter to Guru Das when he was taking care of the Radha Damodar rooms in Vrindavan for Srila Prabhupada, he told him, yes, you can, he gave him the keys for the room and then gave him various instructions. And he said, you can sit there and you can study my books. You can read and study. And this is Sankirtan. This is Sankirtan. So for all of us, we may feel, oh, we have to go out on the streets and propagate. We are propagating through the use of technology. We're adapting to this modern age that we're in, and we're utilizing this technology for spreading Krishna consciousness worldwide with these weekly classes. And of course, we invite you to get this brochure that we created, this flyer that promotes the classes to your friends so they can also get an opportunity to become aware of the purpose of life. Some people say to us, oh, well, you should have these classes for introducing the philosophy. Well, we're going to do special classes for that. But when you join a mission like this, Prabhupada wasn't customizing the classes specifically for new people, but for everyone. And the topics themselves, when they're presented properly, they will enter into the consciousness of the student, of the person interested, and provoke their interest in becoming more knowledgeable. And then you can give them books. Let them read the Gita, let them study these different scriptures and ask questions to you about them. And you take a personal relationship with them and help them to step along in the process. If we can just make one devotee in your life, if you can just do one, that is a great victory, because it is very difficult for people to become serious about spiritual life due to the influence of Kali Yuga, Nilesh, which is all pervading. It's very difficult. Look at the way people are carrying on in your country, America, your new country. It's complete insanity. If you look at the political situation there, it's just nuts. There's no real leaders there. There's no great kings guiding you. They go to McDonald's to have food. What kind of spiritual understanding do they have? Zero. We got a meat-eating society that we're living in. Intoxications, gambling has proliferated up to a level of complete insanity. Everything is gambling. All the TV shows, all the sporting events, they're all controlled by gambling now. Truthfulness is completely lost. So we're in the Kali Yuga, everyone. It's not a simple thing. It's simple for the simple, difficult. Who can help us with newcomers? There can be volunteers. Yes, we're all volunteering, absolutely. And we have a network, so thank you. And, I need help with about 15 newcomers that I've got that I'm cultivating that are completely out in spaceland. It's so difficult to get them to land in reality. And you can repeat it over and over and over and over again to them, and they still don't get it. But what can you do? This is preaching work is something that goes on every day. I know you're doing that, Nilesh, yourself, and you've got a group of people you're cultivating and trying to help. And I know Vijay Pandit, Dharma Bhavana, all of the God brothers, God sisters here, Radharani, Joe Felice made a few devotees in his network of business as a real estate broker and a financier. So, and he constantly, by the way, Joe Felice has the cards, he got them printed for us, and he's distributing them out to all of his customers. And he brought one of his friends from high school here, who's now 65, to the house the other day to meet us. And we got a chance to talk and present the philosophy and continue the cultivation of the process with these people, give them prasadam, give them books, give them encouragement, make friends with them, all kinds of technique for the expert preacher to spark people to somehow or other wake up out of this comatose position that they're in and begin the process of spiritual life according to the directions of our guru, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So in a sense, Nilesh, I also wanted to mention, we're acting as a siksha. We're also teaching. We're not Prabhupada, of course. We're simply repeating what Prabhupada has taught us, and in this way, directing people to Prabhupada to learn. But that is also instructing, just like you're an instructor in dental services. Huh? And myself, I also teach different items to people, how to cook, how to do music, how to promote, how to do all different types of fields that we have. So we're instructing. We're also in this role of instructing everyone that we meet. Who is the bona fide spiritual master? Who is our Siksha Guru, and who is our Diksha Guru? Just to clarify that point. Yashodanandana Prabhu, any last comment from you?
No last comments. I'm just imbibing the great transcendental nectar in the association. Very rare, very special. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. We'll move forward with the bhajan, or the kirtan. But before that, I wanted to remind everyone, Nilesh, we have to do these offerings, Vyas Puja offerings. So please, in your circle, in Vijaya Pandit, your circle of people, and other people that we're dealing with, encourage them to write Joe Felice. Please write your offering. Have your wife write her offering. Pran Mohini, please make an offering. Thank you for attending. And we show people that we've got a committed group of people here to worshiping and understanding Krishna Katha, who Prabhupada is and what our relationship, each individual person here, their relationship with him is, and they're expressing it annually through these very difficult messages that we have to write to expose our consciousness in terms of our relationship with our Guru. So anyone who puts forth questions, we can all learn. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Nilesh, we do really appreciate your participation. Thank you so much. We'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna, Prabhupada playing the bongo. Chant along, everyone. There's just a few minutes more of the program. And we'll see you tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's going to be a wonderful, very interesting, in-depth purport tomorrow that you don't want to miss. So it'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, coming out of Eastern Canada here, and 7 a.m. in the Pacific Coast with Yashodanandana Prabhu and Krishna Katha. And wherever you are, you can mark it in your calendars, and we'll march forward in this sadhana program of hearing and chanting on the pastimes of our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. All glories to the Sankirtan mission.
Jai.
Haripal.
Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating. We look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Canada, Eastern USA time. Thanks, everybody. And see if you have time, please send us your devotional offering for Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं